Alrighty. Hello, everyone joining us on the live stream. We are about ready to get started here this evening, and thank you for joining us.
Everybody that's
This is a test. Testing. Can you hear me up there, Gary? Cool. Alrighty. Well, good evening, everyone. Sorry for our late start. A bit crazy with all this technology we got going on, but welcome to our second coach seminar for our 2015 FLL season. We are also live online right now, which is kind of cool. And I have some announcements and stuff I want to get through first, and then we can jump into hopefully answering questions on the table if we have any, and we'll go from there. So, as I said, the meeting is live online. You'll be actually able to access this once we close the video from the Coach Seminar page on our website, and then it will also eventually go live through the YouTube channel as well. So, just wanted to give some current registration status. I don't know why the first bullet was the only one that didn't show up there, but at the end of when we closed national registration, there was 143 teams in the area. We are that gives us about a 60% rookie rate, which is kind of cool. And then just kind of a breakdown of where we are regarding team statuses. We have 92 teams that have got all their forms in, and everything's good to go. We've got, between pending, waiting, and errors, we've got about 18 teams there as of when I made this presentation. 26 teams are still initially registered, so they're still getting there. Have not started the paperwork process. We have 7 teams that have yet to get into Team Connect. We're going to be pushing that this week to hopefully get everyone to good so we can get everyone into registration for events so that we can start closing that down and know what our advancement rates from qualifiers will be this year. So as our event totals right now, for all of you who have not seen our website, this was when I pulled it earlier today. Buchanan and the Clovis North qualifier closed at capacity. The Central qualifier is getting there, and then South Valley and the Duncan qualifier are in progress. Hope to get those up as well. We will see where those numbers lie. If anyone is interested in potentially switching to the Duncan qualifier because it is at a lower capacity and might have a better chance of advancement, you can email us and we can make that switch. That is the November 21st qualifier. So I just wanted to make aware of some stuff that we announced over the email blasts about the past couple weeks. All of the event agendas have been posted online. Those are they list the blocks. So when check-in is, when the opening ceremonies is, when the first matches start, a lunch, and they continue, and it goes throughout the day. The robot game score sheet was posted last week along with our rubrics. This is what the robot game score sheet will look like this year. It's kind of blurry on this monitor, unfortunately, but it's similar to the one that you can find through First. It's just modified a little bit for our purposes. It's got the CVR logo on it and a couple changes at the top. Recommend that all of you guys have your kids at least be aware of what this score sheet looks like, because this is what the refs will confer with them after each match. So they'll walk through each of the things that they scored and why, and at the bottom of the page the team initials the score sheet, indicating that it's final and they're in agreement with what the results are. From here it goes to the score desk, which then enters it into the score software, which then actually calculates the score. Referees won't know the score at the table. We have a computer that does all that work for us so that we minimize human error. And then that also sends it up to the score display and all of that. The rubrics are pretty much the same as the year they were prior. Sorry, this is so blurry. However, there's nothing really changing here. These are the same rubrics that you can they use worldwide, and they're pretty much the same from last year. The judges will indicate on each of the rows there which they feel which category the team met. The column on the left is beginning, developing, accomplished, and exemplary, going in that order across. There's also an ND column right here. Kind of can't see because it's all blurred out, but it is not demonstrated. And then there's some comment boxes that the judges will use to give feedback to the team in that specific judging session. This is core values, that's project, they're all color coded, and the last one is robot design. They all follow a very similar format of 3 sections with 3 subsections and a comments box. These will all be made available through Team Connect after the event day, probably within a week. They'll get uploaded through there and you'll be able to download your results there. In regards to results from the scrimmages, since that specific part of Team Connect probably won't go live until November, if you do attend a scrimmage, you either attend the Buchanan one or going to attend the North one and want your score sheets back, email us and we can make that happen. Eventually Team Connect will have them posted, but they're not available just yet. So just wanted to go over some important deadlines as a reminder. Payments are due to qualifier by this Friday. You should have received the payment information when you registered through Team Connect. Additionally, you can click the little view receipt. There's a receipt column on the registrations page you could click to view, and that'll bring the receipt back up, which has the payment information, who to make it out to, and where to send it. Event partners are slowly, when they get them, they'll put them in and mark them as paid, and you'll see that status change. For teams that are still not yet registered but will register after the 23rd, payment is then due as soon as possible once they get into the event. New this year, or I guess it's not new this year, we did this last year. On October 24th, I'll be exporting all coach information from Team Connect, and I'll be using that to generate all the badges for events this year. And so it's important to make sure all the coaches are in with paperwork by this Saturday. Additionally, the season standards manual does say that I'm going to be pulling team names out this Saturday. I might push that back another week depending on how our registration goes. This will be in tomorrow's email blast, but I wanted to talk about it tonight. The judging profiles, the Team Connect judging profiles, which look like this. You can see this example in detail on inside of the season standards manual, which is on our website. It's section 5, which goes into a lot of details as to why the judging profiles exist, what they're for, and a quote from one of our judges in years past that really explains why everyone should do it. It is optional, but we do recommend that everyone do a judging profile. Question?
Yes, are they going to look for that with scrimmage?
Judging profiles are not required for the scrimmage. Those are only for the official events this year. And so they will be due the Wednesday at 12 p.m. prior to the respective event. So the central qualifier will be the 4th, Tulare will be the 10th, and so forth, is when we'll pull those judging profiles out for printing and packing into the crates. The example profile here is from our first place Champions Award winning team from the championship last year that went to St. Louis. So we use it as a good example of what you can expect from what judges expect from a judging profile. Any questions on the profiles of this yet? You access these through Team Connect. When you're in your team management interface, there's a tab at the top that says judging profile, and you'll click that and you'll fill it in. The judges do like a team photo in addition to a robot photo as well. I don't have the second page here on the slide that has the robot photo, but the season standards manual has both pages. So some reminders for everybody. Season standards manual is a must read for all coaches, so anyone who hasn't done that yet should take a glance through that document. It's very, very important. And we'll probably be updating it the week of the first qualifier with some final edits regarding some changes that we might be getting from first here in the next couple weeks. We have the coach support group on Facebook. I do recommend everyone join it and ask questions. It's a very easy way to get a hold of us and ask questions and get help regarding general kind of team questions and robot game questions. We still have some resources available from FRC teams, so that would be the Buchanan Bird Brains online video question and answer thing that's on their website at team1671.com. And then we have the Clovis North seminars for both the FLL and Junior FLL programs. They have a couple dates still coming up, and the full details of that are on our website under the trainings and seminars link. And then finally, I just want to remind everyone that changes are coming. We did this for championship last year. We're going to roll it out to all events this year. Practice table signups will occur prior to the event day. So you'll be able to sign up for a couple of slots prior to the event day, and then the rest of the slots will open the morning of the event. How that's going to happen is still kind of in the air. It'll either be through Team Connect or it'll be a separate form, but there will be links to it sent out, and you'll be able to apply. At once, that'll probably lock Friday night, and then you'll be able to register for practice tables with pit admin on the event day for any further slots. You're probably limited to 1 or 2 through the online process. And hopefully this will go very well for us this year. We'll see. It worked out for championship. Again, I said this at the last seminar, but do encourage everyone to volunteer as a judge at a event that you have a team that's not attending. And we also are looking for those interested in serving in key roles. Those role descriptions went up on our website last week, and those are the judge advisor, head referee, and pit administrator are some very key roles, and we're looking to help get people in those roles that can help us with these key roles year over year. With that, and just in time, hello, Phil. That kind of concludes what I had here. Is there any questions on anything that's not the table? The robot game updates, what happens to be this document here, the challenge updates. Is this what you're looking for? So these are, here I will just show you, let me pull it up here. There was actually a whole page of updates issued on Friday. Let me pull this. I gotta, hold on, come on, there we go. So if you're on the First Lego League website, we go up here to Challenge and Resources. We go to the Trash Truck Challenge, and then there's this link to the challenge updates. Oops. I can't scroll down. There we go. So here is the challenge updates, and it'll take you to a PDF that contains all of them. They're in an interesting order this year. They're separated by general challenge updates, project, and then robot game. There was an entire third and fourth page added on Friday with a bunch of updates regarding quite a few different things, including, and we can all talk about that tonight as well. But that's how you get the updates. Any other? We'll get to that question in a minute. Anything else regarding stuff in the region that's not robot game related? Judging?
I said it in the chat on the live stream, but if you just let people together, they can ask questions on the chat.
Oh. Yes, there's a couple people watching, so yes, if you would like to ask questions, you can have them in the live chat. I do have it even up here on the kiosk, so we can get those answered as well. Any other thoughts, questions before we jump into the table? Okay. Well, so you had a question on safety. Safety is a interesting new idea this year from First. I want to, oops, hold on. Oh. There we go. So the safety this year represents we had, in years past, there was the issue where you had to have all of anything that the robot was carrying that at first interacted without a base and it was carrying it back to base, it had to cross the line of base before it was considered in base. That now extends out to safety, so you have a little bit more of a buffer to get stuff into base. And there's also some restrictions on that being a scoring area and all that stuff. Depends on, once the robot enters any part of base, you can grab it, but there's still other considerations regarding stuff like if it was trying to bring back a loop or one of the animals, there's also some considerations on what has to happen there with the rules. As long as any part of if I'm not mistaken, Phil. So the question is regarding the robot entering safety and the robot coming back to base and the restrictions there regarding possession of item. Penalty rules, yeah. Just to make sure I don't mess it up, I'm going to grab my binder back here, which has the challenge in it. I did not bring this.
caused by you interrupting the robot while it's not completely safe.
Robot completely.
Right. So if it's, if I understand the question correctly, if it's coming home and you touch it before the robot is completely safe, you get a penalty. That's what it says right here.
So it's kind of like if your robot is dragging an attachment, something like that, it holds, for example, it's the compost. If it holds the compost, that holds some attachment is still in the same
Yeah.
still keep it. If as long as the robot is in the same.
Well, I think she's asking about the junk.
It's not only the junk penalty, it's kind of like, for example, if my robot is cooling a box, which contains
The bin?
and I still keep the
No. Everything has the piece that you want to bring in
has to be in the
to base has to be completely in safety before you can touch it. If you touch any of the robot before everything, the robot plus what it's trying to bring back in, you do not get what you're trying to bring back in, we take it away, it's no longer in play, plus you get a touch penalty.
Okay. Another question.
It's right here. D09. Yeah. Right. Well, one of the mission is that you break this. Okay? If any of the black is not in here or here, it's a junk penalty. Okay? Any questions on the junk penalty? If it's in here, if it's base, it's not a junk penalty. You're right, that's the 3. Thank you. The black bar, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. The black bar has to be at home or in here in one of the sorter bins and in the recycle bin here in order for the black bar not to count as a junk penalty. I'm sorry, the what? If you bring it back home and then what? Yeah. Once you bring this home, you can manipulate it. You can empty out the plane. And then if you're successful here, you bring home the compost, you put it in here.
Black bar.
No, that's
No.
one of the
Information that's allowed for the bar.
Right. I'm sorry, the what? This right here, right? Hold on a second. Like everybody, we have to double check the rules too, because we don't have them memorized yet. Where's that? But I thought it identifies the transfer. Yeah, here we go. That's the landfill. These are the 2 transfer areas. Right? So there's only one? I thought this is transfer area too. Yeah. Okay. This is one transfer area. and that's the other transfer area. You see the white, the inner white? Anything inside of the white is the boundary. If you bring the what bar?
My question is,
If you bring the bin to the west transfer area,
yeah.
He's asking if there's a difference in scoring between the two transfer areas.
I don't believe so.
The two transfer area is kind of whether we should put the bin on the blue stuff, or just leave it in the transfer area.
Well, if I remember correctly, you can only put it on one side. The other team puts it on the other side.
Do you need to leave the bin up to that blue stuff?
So she's asking, do you need to put it into the actual model that moves it over to the other side, or does it score if it's inside the transfer area and not out there?
Where's the mission on that?
so
Hold on a second, I have to read the mission.
We are not there yet, but it's kind of making confused.
No, that's not it. Yeah, this one right here. It only scores if it's in safely. The bin.
That's the one you received, isn't it?
Well,
Where
yeah,
is this?
one team will put
Oh,
it
there it
in,
is.
and then you bring it back to safety. That's when it scores. It doesn't score anywhere other than in the safety. Okay.
So there's no need for the team to bring it.
Yeah, some of these questions you're asking are in the book. So I apologize. We have to double check the book too to make sure we give you the right answer. Is there any other questions? Very good questions. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this might be in the book and I just
No, it's okay. I mean, it gives us the opportunity to memorize it too.
when you're delivering animals to the circles, can you have two animals in one circle and score, or do they have to be in different circles?
Doesn't specify that. So let me double check. Yeah, as long as there's no plastic bag in it. Okay, and it has to be completely in. Okay. So yeah, good question. If you want to put all the animals in one circle and they all fit, then you get them. Yes, sir.
Disorder and the leniency rules. So, can you
The
tell
one that just came out?
how you would allow the kids to reach in on the table?
Okay. Where's where are the bars? Okay, where's the two black ones? Oh, here we go. Okay. Let's see. Oh. Okay, where's the, do you have a printout of the new leniency? Let's see. Okay. Are you talking about update number 9? Okay. Before you can do that, before you can touch it though, you have to have a person in here before you can touch with your hand. Okay? If you touch without a person there, it's a big no-no. Okay, so let's assume that your robot brings, all it has to do is bring one person. It doesn't have to bring two, just one. Okay. So it goes there. Sure, this is, okay. And then your robot. Oh, then the robot has to pull this out. Can't use your finger, even though if you have a person here, you can't use your hand to move this. The robot has to move it. Okay? So the robot brings it here, then the robot pulls this out, and then the robot does this, and, oh, wrong direction. Oh, it's supposed to be set up correctly. Okay, come on, there we go. No. Oh, that's okay. Am I moving it too fast? Okay.
It might not be.
Yeah, I don't think it's set up properly, but they'll be set up properly. We'll double check, make sure everything's working before we start the.
This table might not also be level. That's also the case.
Okay.
Okay, so assuming you fit and it doesn't sort right, how are you letting the kids reach in?
Well, we'll let them. Obviously.
Kids at the table, right?
Yeah, there's gonna be two kids.
One of those two kids can reach in.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we're doing that. Again, the kids can reach from here, or like everybody has, if they ask the ref, or even a resetter. I'm sorry?
What's the preferred method?
Whatever your kids want to do. I mean, we're not going to go in all of a sudden and just do it without their permission, because then that'll create a problem for us. Okay, coaches might not like that if we just all of a sudden jump in. Okay, so if the kids want us to help, they have to expressly communicate that they need help. Otherwise, we're not going to do anything. You guys okay with that? Huh? Okay.
The same way that the kids have to be conditioned to, when they sign off on the sheet at the end, to know that they need to communicate with the referee if there's an issue with the scoring. They just need to know going into the match that if they go in and there's an issue with the sorter and they have the person in there, then they need to either reach for it or ask the ref. So they're kind of practicing that scenario if you're going to do that mission and having the kids ready for it.
Yeah, just don't assume that because the kids are having a hard time that we're going to jump in.
So we can have the kids let you know in advance, but
You can do that, but the ref might forget because they have so many things that they're keeping an eye on. So, you might want to suggest also that the kids, when that time comes, hey, ref, we need help. Or even one of your kids on the sideline can say, hey, ref, we need help. They just can't, again, they can only be two. Or they can prompt the two kids to, hey, tell the ref we need help.
Test.
Yeah. So.
That's great, but I'm confused. So if you have programmed it and your program might not be ideal, and your robot is unable to turn the wheel, and the kid says, oh, well, could you help us?
Turn the wheel? No, we're not going to turn the wheel.
There's a fine line there.
Well, what it allows you to do is, if it gets stuck for whatever reason, let's say this thing gets stuck in the chute. Okay? If it gets stuck and you have your person here, you can fix it with your hand to unstuck it. Doesn't matter because you can't touch it.
Phil, it also allows you to resort it if it goes into the wrong bin, right?
Number 9.
Oh, they changed it?
Well, update 9 reads that the exception described in M5 only allows you to correct the rare situation of the bars getting stuck in the sorter's E-chute. So if it falls, doesn't get into a hole, like gets stuck in the chute, then that's all you're allowed to do is to fix it.
It says here, you put it through. That's all the leniency allowed.
Number 9 is titled, You May Not Move Bars Around by Hand. So, I thought, originally we thought you could do that. That if for whatever reason the bar went into the wrong bin and you had your person here and you could touch, at the time we thought you can move the bars into the right bins. But now he's saying you can't do that. The only thing you can do if it gets stuck, then you can fix it so that way then it slides down. Update number 9. Make sure you guys know that.
Here, that bonus means team technician and/or the ref, if needed, are allowed to unplug any west chute blockage by hand and/or put missorted bars into their correct bins, including bars that did not land in any bill.
This is what we go by.
Combine it.
That's what I saw too. So West Chute would be the first one, the very first one.
But this
East
is
chute would be
not informing
the
us
chute
correctly.
going down.
We only can go off the...
We only go off with the update. We don't go off with the app.
If something like that happens, in the rule book, there's a spelled out order of hierarchy for the rule changes that starts with the robot game updates, and then
Right.
I believe video is specifically said to be dead last.
Videos doesn't even count.
Thank you, Ruth.
So, I mean, good question, but we're following his instruction. Yeah, so somebody probably should tell Evans that, hey.
Chute.
You, I mean, the robot puts it up into the chute. From your knockdown building. I believe, this right here, if you're successful in bringing this home, you can tear it apart and disassemble it. I believe there's a few bars that starts at base, right? Yeah, there's a few bars that starts at base, and then you can take it up to the chute.
In the chute, if the sorted but they're not sorted, it would be
If there's black bars up here, I believe yes, because the only exceptions are here, base. No, if they're in base, there are also penalty.
It clarifies that it's 8 points per bar for putting the compost in here, 3 for being in their bin, so either the black or the green, and the last one is -8 per bar for everywhere else. It doesn't say that base is not.
Penalty 8 per bar. Plus meaning what? Oh, you gain points. The minus is with the penalty, right? Okay. Minus is 8 bar anywhere else. Okay, so anywhere else, black bar is in scoring. park the scoring flower in the original setup position. So if they're here, if they're still set up in the building, they get the points. Well, that's confusing.
Yeah, that's correct. Ones on the sorter would be in their original setup position.
Scoring flower box. This is the flower box, right? Yeah. Why wouldn't it be? Oh, if you take it out. All these rules are supposed to be a lot easier to yeah. 8 per bar. Michael, I have a question for you. The black bars. It says here 8 per bar. Scoring flower box or in their original setup position. So my question is, if it's no longer in there, is it still in its setup position, original setup position? Or, I mean, technically this is original, right?
I would think the original setup position
Is it meaning it has to
I would agree that it's in there.
Yeah, I think once the robot interacts with it, it's
Yeah.
no longer.
If it's in there, I guess we'll have to make sure that, so if they don't do anything, they get the points for it's still in there.
96 points if you don't do anything in the update.
Okay. So yeah, if it's in there, you get there's 2 bars in there, right? So you get 2 bars, 8, 16 points. If the building is still up, original position, you get the 4 bars because it's in the original setup position. There's
If
an
the
update?
package with black bars is no longer in the factory, it's not in original setup position. So, and it's yeah. So if you don't do anything with the black bars, it's inherently worth 96 points. Well, if you add.
Oh, right. It's the landfill. Yeah, the landfill is worth different. Okay. So we clear? We'll have to explain to the lady when next time we see her. What's the you were shaking your head on the black bars?
Phil, I think you need to just go over everything we just figured out from the top so that now that we know what's right.
Okay.
So these black bars are worth 8 points if you don't do anything with them. So if the building's still built, then they're worth 8 points. If they're still in the sorter,
Order thing not moved, 8 points. They're also worth 8 points if they're in flower box condition, which means you remove this, get the compost from the compost machine, and put it in. That's 8 points. 3 points if you put it in that black box over there, behind the compost machine, and 3 points for being in there. Anywhere else? No, just 3 points. And then anywhere else, you lose 8 points. So if you break the building, don't do anything with them, 8 points, or minus 8 points. Just leave them on the field, it's minus 8 points. Have them in base, minus 8 points.
Do you have to break the building? Could you break the building without breaking it here in the safety?
I would think that if the robot has interacted with the building in any way, then it's not in its original setup condition.
In case if it doesn't break,
But I mean, if it doesn't break and you bring it back to base, it's still not in its original setup condition because the robot's moved it.
So if you're taking the salvage piece out, then you'd be getting negative points then for the bond in the building.
Is that part of the building? The salvage pieces?
Yeah, right here.
No, I mean, is that part of the building points? I thought it was separate points.
There are two missions, right?
Yeah, there's two missions. You take this,
So that's not.
and then they're supposed to put it, are they supposed to bring it home?
Yeah, they bring it
Yeah.
back.
Bring it back to base, right?
Yeah.
So if your robot was successful in pulling this out without dismantling the building, then you get the mission for that. And if at the end of the match the building is still standing up, you get the points for the black bars because it's in the original setup. Does that make sense? Okay. Still a little confused. No, it's okay.
I get points.
Yes.
Yes.
And if I tear it down and move the parts back to base and do something with them, I get points. But if I tear it down and I bring the parts back to base and I do nothing, I lose points.
Yes.
So I'm better off to do nothing.
Well,
That's what I'm trying to sort out, because in my mind, I get more points to just literally let it sit there.
well, the missions are worth more points than the pieces are worth for not being touched. So it's about weighing the give and take between doing the mission and just taking the points for not getting it.
What's the total
Right,
points you
so
can get
weigh out the other
for
mission.
transferring the contents of the building?
3 points for the black.
Like for tearing down the building,
You mean,
85 points.
Let's see.
That's a lot of work.
You have four blue, 4 yellow, and 4 black. So how much would those be worth?
Alright, if you put those in there,
But if you were
Is-
going to do
where's
that
the
next
sorter?
anyway, what's it called?
Because you have to put it in the sorter, get the
It seems
bins,
odd to me.
and then move it to the guy's other side to get any of those points.
There's an inherent score that the game would get if you did nothing to prevent people from
I don't know if that's
going
worth
to the
it.
table and getting 0.
That's a lot of time consuming.
it's 7 point. It's
I don't think, I mean, 96 points may seem like a lot. The highest score you can get is 1200. So
Really?
yes, if you were to successfully do everything on the field, it's 1200. At the scrimmage a couple weekends ago, I think our highest score was close to 500. Or was it 400? It was close to 400 points for the scrimmage, which was pretty high for that, for early October. Or we'll see what the results will be come scrimmage 2 weekends from now, and that'll be interesting as well. For those points live when we start getting into the event season, but it's easy to get a lot of
That's not East Transfer, that's sorter. East Transfer's all over there.
Where's the sorter?
I don't know. It's one of the people. Oh, this was never completely an East Transfer.
All areas are defined below, so it's talking about that.
Yeah, but it's 6 for bars. It was never for yellow and blue, so I think it's 6 points if you get them sorted.
So there were 6 points if you put all of them in?
No, each bar.
Oh, right. See, these are worth points. Blue, yellow from the building, plus you have some that starts off in base. Okay. These are also worth points if you take them here. Okay. Plus, the points also increases if take the blue bin, put it here. Again, it's a cooperation, so you'd have to assume.
It specifies east transfer in the rules for the extra points.
Yeah,
Out to that one.
It just changed something in the update.
I think, yeah, you have to read the update on that.
Oh wait, didn't they switch it?
Yeah, they changed, he changed that one. It has to be in here.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Transfer out on that one.
yeah, it's transfer out of this one. Let's see. Yeah, so if you have 2 blue bars, or if you put all blue bars through the sorter, and then you're able to bring the bin here, each bar, blue bar, is worth 7 points. Okay. Let's see. It's blue or yellow. So, say you have these 4, and everything work accordingly. They get 2 extra ones here, right? Okay, so there's 4 here, and let's say you have a total of 6. You also bring this here. Then each yellow bar is also worth 7 points. Okay, so there is a trade-off. If you don't do anything, you get what you get. If you do something, the chances of getting more points is there, but you gotta weigh the risk. Are the kids able to program to make it work properly, so the sorter goes through properly? Bring the bins here. Can it all be done in 2.5 minutes? I'm sorry, what?
For transferring out, do these bins just need to be in the square, or do they need to be on top of the mount?
Transferring out here, you mean?
Yeah.
It has to be here.
Got it.
And then the other team pulls it out and if they're successful to bring it to base, both you and the other team get 60 points. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Mhm. Has to go through the sorter, doesn't it? Isn't there? I think it was, if I remember right, I thought it was one of the updates said that. Yeah, bars must only enter green bins directly from the sorter's e-chute. Number 1. So you just can't program the robot and dump them into the bin. It has to go through the sorter. Good question. Anything else? Motors attached.
4 motors attached during operation.
So you can only have 4 motors if you have an EV3. Since the NXT only has 3 motor slots, you can't have 4 at one time, but you're allowed to bring 4 with you to the table now.
So you can have an attachment. You can only use 3 because that's a physical limitation of the NXT. But the EV3 has 4 motor ports. So you can run all 4 motors at the same time in the mission. As if that's useful or a desire or a strategy. And you have that ability to do so.
Why does it spell out that you have to have 3 large motors, 1 medium?
You may include more than one of a type. It's a kind of, it's just an explanation. Since the EV3 does have 2 types of motors, you can change.
You can have 2 plus 2?
Yeah, you can have whatever. So you can have 4 mediums, 4 larges, fuel division, 1 3, one of the other. Well, we are at 7 o'clock.
No, you can, yeah.
The salvage pieces has to be taken out before demolishing the building, correct? Because otherwise, if you just knock it down the whole building and then pick up the toilet piece, that would disqualify that salvage mission.
Does it specify you have to pull it out before? Can be salvaged first. It doesn't say, as far as I know, right? I mean, yeah, that's how, right now, that's how I'm reading it.
It doesn't matter how it is in real life.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in real life. You know, I mean, this is, I mean, the way I'm reading it right now, I mean, it sounds like you can tear it down and then pull it out.
Or if you knock the whole thing down and just like scoop the pieces back to base.
Well, let's see. Can you, I mean, I don't see why not. It doesn't say you can't do that. Unless I'm reading it wrong. But I don't see any update that says you can't do that, right? So unless there's an update that says you can't do that, remember, you can't go by what the video. I don't see it anywhere. It could be, you know. I mean, it could be that something, you know, a tournament is going on this weekend, and you know somebody did that, and somebody complains, and then he sends out a rule says you can't do that. You know, but right now I don't see anything that says you can't, you know, if I understand correctly, the building's here, the building is up, use this to tear it down, and then whatever apparatus you have on your robot, you push everything in. Is that how I'm hearing it? So then, you know, if you were successful, everything's in. I mean, right now, I'm not seeing anything that says you can't do that. I mean, do you see anything that says that?
Well, the description of salvage says, a building being demolished should only be a shell of its former self. Many tons of valuable materials and objects can be salvaged first, but it doesn't say anywhere in the actual rule that it has to be done first. It just says it in the description.
Okay.
There's not supposed to be a gray area.
Motivate why division exists, not necessarily provide any rules for the game.
Okay.
So are you guys on board with the current interpretation that?
I would say until it's in a robot game update, then yeah, you can pull it out at any time.
If they tear everything apart and the salvage is still in there, and then they have some kind of apparatus that, until something definitive says you can't do that, I don't see why you can't do it yet. So. So, he could, God forbid, but he could come out in the middle. We may be done with 2 tournaments and then he comes out with the rule and then we can't apply it afterwards. That's how he rolls. It's happened before.
There will be robot game updates during the season, but I believe it's Friday before.
It's the latest time it'll go out is Friday at 3 p.m. West Coast, so 12 p.m. our time.
What I'm saying is that, let's say we finish a couple of tournaments, and then he comes out with a rule that says you can't do it anymore. So.
And then he could put out an update between the November events and the December events. So the December events have to operate differently,
right.
And it will probably happen that there will be rule changes between the qualifiers and championship because they're so far apart. I would expect some significant rule changes. Because TV wrote the manual. So there's probably going to be stuff that as the event season kicks off next month, there's going to be a lot of input from the referees and events that go, all right, we encountered all of these situations and we had a rule this way, that type of thing.
The only thing that we can guarantee is that if you're at an event, the rules are going to be interpreted the same for every team at that event.
Right. So everyone at that event will be held to the same rules.
And they're not going to change in the middle of the tournament.
No, because that's what I was saying earlier is that the rules are set as of 12 p.m. Friday.
And that will be the rule that we'll use for the following day. Yes, sir.
So at a qualifier, there's the head ref that helps that will lead a meeting in the morning with the referees, and that will help kind of set the page. Now, or set the kind of what the rules will be for that day. Now, in the morning of the event day, there's something called the coaches meeting, and that's when coaches can come forward, and it's all the coaches, maybe a couple kids as needed. We're standing around the tables, and we're talking about any final rule changes. We'll go over any robot game updates that maybe have come out the day prior, and then that's when you can come ask strategy questions, like how would you interpret this? And then the head ref would make a decision as to how that would be interpreted that day. That may not, there's different head refs. Phil might be at one event, his son might be in another. They might interpret something differently. And so the interpretations might be different between event days, but it will be the same for that event.
Everybody will be on the same
Yeah.
as far as what's going to be accepted at that.
Yes. And then we'll talk about, advancement. We'll talk about robot game stuff. We'll talk about judging stuff. We'll talk about all that in the morning, answer any final questions, and then that will set the page for the rest of the day.
Yeah, normally what we do when we train the refs that will actually score the table at the end of the match. During the training, we'll go through as many different scenarios that we're aware of. So then, an example would be what we were just talking about, the building. Until there's a rule that says you can't do it, they can tear down the building, push everything in, and if this is home, it's scored. Until an update says you can't do that. Okay, same thing. Unless there's a person in here, they can't use raise their hands. So, we'll try to go through every possible scenarios, all the questions that we have heard. We'll try to go through all of that stuff with the refs, so then we're all on the same page. And like Michael said, we'll clarify any last minute changes, or, if any of the coaches didn't have an opportunity to come in, they might ask a question that maybe we haven't heard yet, then we'll make a decision that morning in front of everybody, so everybody knows how it's going to be applied for that day.
And also, for the most part, that coaches meeting in the morning with the referees will include if there's been any recent robot game updates. So if there's one on Friday, they'll bring it up during the coaches meeting so that everybody is aware of it before the tournament starts.
Thank you.
Any
Questions
last
on the-
thoughts, questions from anybody's?
Any questions on the?
We had a couple on the live stream, but we answered them in right through the chat.
Okay.
Someone asking what missions they should do as a new team to get started, and we recommended the demolition mission and a couple missions right outside of base, are good places to start. Thank you guys for coming. This will the two of you, the three of you that remain. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you all for joining us on the live stream. Have a good rest of the day. We'll either see you guys at the scrimmage or at the qualifiers. And our next coach seminar is on November 9th. So thank you, everyone, and have a good night.